Hello, class of 2021. I am Ms. Painter, one of your potential English teachers this coming fall. And I just wanted to make a quick video to kind of explain some of the details about our summer reading project. And we get a lot of questions over the summer, and I thought I could clear some of those things up and show you some examples from last year, things we liked, things we didn't like. So I'm going to start with the packaging styles. And I have several examples to show you. It does not have to be fancy. You can go just as plain as you want. This is an example of a student who did one last year, just entirely, she didn't even take the fringe off the paper. But the only complaint I have about this one is she didn't have her name on the front of it. The notebook paper was fine. The picture was wonderful. It's her, I think she was a water girl for football, so she's reading her book while, filling up the water bucket. Her book log entries were handwritten, which is perfectly okay. And then she's just kind of put her alternate book cover in there, and then she had her name on the back. Would have rather had that on the front. It helps us keep things organized at the start of the year. Another possible packaging method, and we get a lot of these. These are cheap little sleeves, and you may have some around the house, but you can shove every bit of your project in here. Just to kind of keep it together so it doesn't come apart. So that's just fine. We've even gotten ones in the yellow manila envelopes, which is fine as well. If you want to go a little fancier, you can do just a folder, which is fine. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but if you want, you can. It's got the little pocket, so you can either use the little brads or just stick it all in a pocket and be done with it. So that's a possibility. And then kind of the fancy end, we get a fair amount of these. So you can do one of the little report packagings. And that's just up to you guys. It's personal preference. We don't grade any differently based on whether you staple it and give it to us or put it in one of these plastic packagings. It's fine either way. Now, as to the organization of the project, we don't really have a preference on the order in which you put the components. There's not really a set way we want them to go. It's not, it's kind of up to you, whatever makes sense to you. Again, as long as your name is on the front, like this student did the picture in the front. And I have other students who do just a blank, like a cover page with just information on the front. I have other kids who did their alternate dust jacket on the front. So any of that works. Let's see, the main thing with organization is that your name is on the front and that you can differentiate from the author's name. We want to know, because sometimes you'll put, it looks like the author did your project, or, you wrote the book, vice versa. You might want to just label author on there whenever you put it next to the book. Okay, next for the book logs, the question of whether or not it's better to have them handwritten versus typed, we don't care. It's up to you. The only thing is that if you type them, we do want them printed out. We want them in a packaged, hard copy package to give to us. So that's the only thing, that's the only difference that there is between doing it handwritten and typed. We don't mind one way or the other. We don't grade differently based on whether it's handwritten or typed. Now, I did have a question about a student who was reading their book on their phone. They had it downloaded on the phone. I know that's becoming more and more common because the page numbers are a little wonky sometimes on whatever app you're using. So you are welcome to just reference, in those cases, you can just reference the chapters that those passages are in for your book logs. That is perfectly okay if that is what's happening with you, because not all versions of the book even use the same page numbering anyway, but the chapters will work in cases like that, so that's fine. I wanted to also talk about your book pictures. That's kind of the fun component piece that we do. I think we get a lot of people cover half their face. It can be close up. You can use Snapchat. You can use all sorts of emojis, or we get all sorts of fun different ways to represent people reading their books. If you do school activities, like say you do basketball, volleyball, just a picture of you with your book in the gym. I love this one. The student didn't really want me to have her in the picture, so I just put Post-it notes over her, but it's her reading to her horse, and I think that's adorable, so I wanted to use it. I love pictures with pets. Me personally, I'm a dog person. I love pets, so you're definitely gonna get brownie points with me if you take a picture with your pet. I have cheerleaders. I do a lot of, I see a lot of cheerleaders who do pictures doing stunts while they're holding their book, which be careful if you do that. Don't want anybody to break their back. Here's just another one with a dog. I love people reading with their animals, and it doesn't matter if you cover your face up. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's kind of the creative portion of the project. It's kind of just the fun stuff. It's fun though whenever you can put it on the front like this student did. This is a softball player, and she had all of her information out on front, and she had a great picture of her just in her softball gear reading her book. Okay, the review, I just wanted to point out and make sure you understood that the review is different from the book logs. So you've got the book log entries that, you know, like this student had entry 5. She, you know, labeled them really well, separated them out really well. This is really well organized. But then the review is different. The review is a whole other component that's separate from the book log. So make sure you do a separate book review that's different in its style, because your book log entries, it's referring to specific passages, whereas your review is kind of your assessment of the overall novel. The dust jackets. Now this is a big one because some students stress about this, and I mean, some students are more artistic than others, and I don't want to scare off the students who don't feel like they're artistically inclined. Okay, this is a really good interpretive, and I mean, this didn't take a whole lot. They painted this, but it's just a sun and some swirly designs and the hunt for Sam, and I mean, they changed the title on this. When you, I think it says that in there, that you're welcome to change the title. Give it a title that you think makes more sense, or also makes sense. It doesn't have to, you know, be like, I didn't like the title and I think it'd be better titled this. It's just a creative exercise. So again, here's another artistic. Now this student's more artistically inclined, so you know, she was one of the ones that maybe wasn't as stressed about it, but it doesn't have to be perfect. I had another example of one that's kind of more reasonable. This would be like my artistic level. Nothing wrong with it. This is good. This is fine. It's okay that it's not, you know, they aren't anatomically correct. They could be stick figures, really, kind of. I mean, you don't want to just do stick figures. I want a little more effort. But now, you can, if you want, make it actually more the size of a book novel. We have a lot of students who do that. We've actually had students who have shellacked a book cover, like the alternate dust jacket, over the actual book, which was really cool. So if you want to, I mean, I'm sure Pinterest is full of little ideas of how to do that sort of thing, alternate dust jackets for books, like, this is a common assignment. So you're welcome to kind of take it to whatever level you want to take it. But again, the artistic ability is not as important as you being able to get up at the beginning of the year on the first day of school and explain your choices. Even if you have to tell us, this weird shaped figure over here is supposed to be this and it represents this from the book. As long as you can kind of make those connections for us and show us why you made those choices, that's what's important. I have had students who have asked if they can find just like an image online and like alter that and print it out, which I'm okay with, but it needs to have some originality to it. Like this student, for example, this really wouldn't get full points for me because they just found a picture that they liked online and it seemed different. And if you do something digital, if you do something online, or just on a computer, make sure that you're altering it somehow in some sort of image, I don't know, program. You're adding things and changing things, even if it's a kind of a collage of images that represent different things, that's okay. But just going and finding a different picture online we want a little more effort and a little more insight than that. Sorry, Rose. Come here. This is, if you end up having me for English, you're gonna be seeing a lot of pictures of this girl. This is Rosie. She's my puppy dog. Yep. So for the presentation, the last thing I wanted to talk about was the presentation. I don't want you guys to stress too terribly much about it. All we have you do whenever you come in on the first day, it usually takes the first 2 days of school, is you have to have your hard copy of your presentation with you, and you will stand up in front of the room and you will explain. We like to have you show your picture of you reading your book and just kind of, you know, this is me reading my book, and maybe tell us where you did it, because we get a lot of cool, like a lot of kids will take them on vacation and we'll take them on the beach, and we get lots of cool pictures out of this deal. So you can tell us where you took your picture. And then we typically like for you next to just explain your dust jacket, like your redesigned dust jacket, and explain like why you made the choices that you made. And then the last thing you'll do is you will just choose one of your book log entries to read aloud, and that's it. So it's 3 short things. It takes usually no more than 2 minutes. It's not as stressful as, you know, you're not getting up and doing a Prezi or anything like that. You're not getting up and having to, you know, memorize anything and use note cards or anything like that. It's very impromptu. And so just know that each of the components, you will be graded on each of the components. Now, I have had students contact me having issues like, I ordered the book this day and it hasn't come in yet, and I'm, you know, is it okay if my first book log entry is a few days late or whatever. Now, I can't speak for Miss Pride and Miss Knowlton on that, but I think, you know, as long as those components all come together in a pretty timely manner, I mean, communication is key. So the thing is, as long as you're talking to us about it and you're explaining what's going on, then I think you're going to be okay. So I hope that I have answered all the questions that you have. If not, don't hesitate to email me or Ms. Knowlton or Ms. Pride, or all 3 of us, or post on Classroom and let us know any clarification that you need on any of these things. So enjoy the last month or so of summer, and we will look forward to meeting you guys in August. Bye.